Peace, peace. Still touching this one, man. And I was just doing some more research on slave numbers according to their numbers, plus with the count that it was Indian slaves, plus the count from the census. Alright, so I'm gonna try to format some of this stuff because I'm just freestyling off of the way I just actually kind of figured this out. Alright, so now this is just for any of you scholars that want to come on here and debate this. Alright, now let's keep this in mind, okay? The Indian slaves in which that they had within these colonies, right? They counted them, right? Now understand this, right? But they're not showing on the census. All right, so that tell you already right there. That's how we can prove already that black people are Indians. All right, now check this out. All right, now it says Indian slave trade in the American Southeast. All right, so it say the enslavement of Native Americans was commonly across the 13 British colonies in Florida in the 1600s and early 1700s. But especially in the American Southeast, all right? So it's telling you that it was especially in the American Southeast. What else was in the Southeast? It's supposed to be the African slave trade, all right? Now check this out. It says it is commonly believed that Africans were the only people who were enslaved in the Americas. However, in some of the Southeast colonies, Native American slaves at times outnumbered the African descendants. Now check this out. Now, if they outnumbered the African descendants, where did they go on the census? Now, I'm gonna listen. I don't know. I might make 10 more videos on this right here until people understand this. Because the people who's supposed to be so scholastical, you know what I'm saying, sharp and everything, they is not understanding this. Because I'm still getting these same comments of people calling my work pseudo, calling my work, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, listen, this shit is plain and simple to most of us who come on this page. We already understand this. Now let me get back into this, alright? So it says, now remember this, Pan-Africans who don't know nothing about this, and you so-called scholars who don't know nothing about this. It says it is commonly believed that Africans were the only people who were enslaved in the Americas. However, in some of the Southeast colonies, all right, it say Native American slaves at times outnumbered those of African descent. Native were sometimes used as labor on plantations or as servants to wealthy colonist families. Other times they were used as interpreters for European traders. The policies on the treatment of slavery of Native American vary from colony to colony in the Southeast. A large part of the Native American slave trade in the Southeast consisted of other native trappers and selling other natives into slavery. This trade between the colonists and Native American had a profound effect on shaping the nature of slavery in the Southeast. All right, let me see something. All right, hold on, because I'm looking for something. I want to show you guys something. Just for people who don't know where the Southeast at, man. Because, you know, you got some people on here that's not that bright. You got people who claim they bright. All right, boom. Let me see. I can show you on this one. I had this open already. All right, so this the East. This is the Southeast. All right, so bright people and smart guys. This is the East. This is the Southeast. All right, the Southeast is all the way from right here, what we call Virginia or Delaware, all the way down to Florida. All right, and maybe I'm wrong. It might be Virginia all the way to Florida, but this is the Southeast. All right, and this is where they tell you that they was bringing Africans at. All right, so let me see. What was I? I was right. No, I was right here. Alright, just let you know I got a bunch of stuff up on the screen, you guys. Alright, so the Southeast. Alright, because we already know they had slaves in Massachusetts. Alright, so say slavery in the Southeast colony. The southern colonies of the United States were known for their use of slavery to keep their large plantation economy running, as well as the terrible ways in which the slaves were treated. It usually assumed that all the slaves were from Africa. However, Native Americans were frequently enslaved and in some cases were used more than African slaves. The Native American slave trade in the colonial Southeast was brought to the peak with the use of European weapons, as well as trade by native and of native in exchange for ammunition for weapons, as well as other European English goods. Alright, so that's telling you right there. Alright, so now, however, the environment of the natives and the slavery and other natives was not a model that would be able to sustain itself for long. And the depletion of resource, Native American in this sense being the resource, coupled with the Yamasee War of 1715, would effectively bring an end to the use of Native Americans as slaves in colonial Southeast. All right, now I don't believe that. Now check this out. Remember, think about this, right? They tell you that the Seminole was runaway slaves that was African, right? Now, after reading this, do you believe that? Do you believe that the Seminole was running? Because remember, the Yamasee turned into the Seminole. And this saying right here, now this right here, this little saying right, Native Americans since being a resource, coupled with the Yamasee War. The Yamasee became the Seminole. The Seminole moved out. Remember, if we dealing with, let me see, what was we at right here? Hold on, I just want to pull the map back up. I think it's right here. Alright, so if you dealing, they telling you they had slaves in the Southeast, right? They telling you they had Indian slaves in the Southeast. But you guys swear up and down that the Seminole was runaway slaves, because it say runaway slaves that made them Africans. Alright, now it tells you, this is telling you right there that the Seminole was already Aborigines and they wasn't mixed with no Africans. Okay, now check this out. Let's go back to this, man. And was it this one? Yeah, it was right here. All right. So I'm going to read the rest of this right here, and then I'm going to go on to the rest of the presentation. All right. So slavery in the Carolinas. All right. Now remember, there wasn't supposed to be no slaves. Remember, first of all, there wasn't supposed to be no Indians as slaves because they told you they'd kill all the Indians off, right? Now number two is they said that they couldn't make the Indians as slaves, but they're telling you in some instances in the Southeast, there was more Indian slaves than Africans, okay? And we're going to get to the bottom of this, all right? We're going to get to the bottom of this, all right? So you guys cannot run away from this one, all right? So the trade system between the natives, the colonists, and England helped to get the colonial economy on its feet. Now check this out. Now you heard what it said. The trade between the native and the colonists and England helped to get the colonial economy on its feet when it was first founded in the late 1600s. All right, so they telling you that they had Indian slaves from the 1600s. Where did they go? Okay, and this is I'm gonna keep on making videos on this topic right here. It say this trade system allowed for Carolina colony to then set up its plantation, which mainly introduced rice and indigo weed. They say, and bringing with it the African slaves. To say who would then work the plantations. That's bullshit. All right, let's just don't even let's not even involve that right there, because we know that's bullshit. They get said that the Indians working the plantations. Okay, let's say this trade system involved the Westro group who had previously came down from further north. The Westro were giving English goods in exchange for beavers and other animal plate. And saying captured natives to be sold into slavery. The slavery of the Native Americans was crucial in both phases of the colony's changing economy. Slavery, especially the Native Americans, was allowed in legislation framework of the colony with the creation of slave codes. The slave codes. Hold up. So the Native Americans were slaves when the slave codes. Yo, look, man. Yo, let me just stop real quick. I gotta laugh at this shit, man. But like I said, man, I don't speak the Queen's or King English very well or whatever. I don't know. It's like the older I'm getting, the more I'm becoming unprogrammed. All right. Now check this out. All right. Now it's telling you that the end. Yo, I did so much research on this. I am so convinced, man. I'm like me myself. I am so convinced. I am so convinced, man. Doing the research on this led me to, like, you know, beyond the pictures and beyond what the anthropologists and paleontologists said or whatever, beyond all of that, you know what I'm saying? This is my personal research for myself. This is, I mean, I'm doing this. I'm doing this as I'm learning a lot of this stuff. You guys are learning it, because most of the time I do. Sometimes I read some of these passages twice. Sometimes I just read over them, and sometimes I forget it when I go back over it again. All right, so it's telling you right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me read through a little bit more. So it says slave code. Soon after the creation of the colony, as slaves, the natives were expected to hunt while the black slaves worked the plantation. That's bullshit, man. It say that the trade with the Indians continued. So did the westward were trying to limit the amount of trade done with the natives. However, Queen Anne War interrupted the building campaign against trading and allowing the decreased sales of slaves in Charleston. Often the price of native slaves were lower than that of blacks due to the increased amount of native slaves who escaped. Escape was relatively easy for the Native Americans, as they knew the land well and often were not far from their own people. Now they lying about that, because they telling you all. Now remember this too. All of these ports that they got, man. Louisiana. How are you bringing slaves to Louisiana? So you coming all the way through the Caribbean and going all the way up to Mississippi? And then you dropping them off right there? Who was the ones doing that? It had to be the French, because the French was the only people coming to Louisiana. So how was they bringing slaves there if the Louisiana Purchase was created in 17 something or whatever? So when you telling me what happened to the slaves that the French had? And I'm gonna do another video on that, because I'm starting with this research. I'm starting to find out. I'm starting to think that the fucking French took the Indians from Louisiana to fucking Haiti, yo. And not to mention, it was already Arawaks there, okay? It was already Arawaks there. But I'm thinking that they had to, I mean, look, this is just the way my mind is working or whatever, because I'm seeing a lot of inconsistencies in all of this stuff, man. There's so many inconsistencies to where, how can you believe any of this shit? How can you go to school and somebody tell you something and then you can relate back to school when most of the articles that I look up is inaccurate? Most of the articles don't even, the only thing I can't go by is off the census, because the census will at least be somewhat accurate. Okay, they telling you in these same states where they're supposed to be black slaves that they had Indian slaves, but they're not on the fucking census, man. You understand? They're not on the fucking census, man. Alright, so man, this is a lot, man. I say, as the trade with the Indians continued, so did the slavery of Native Americans. It say, however, due to the growing trade monopoly of colonies, some of the colonists, such as Henry Westward, I think I read this already, were trying to limit the amount of trade that was done. Alright, so I read this right here. It say often, I read that right there. I read this right here. It says slave owner solution to the problem of the escaped natives were to send them to work in the West Indies, where they would not be able to escape. However, the break of the Yamasee War in 17. Look, yo, listen. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let me tell y'all something. All right. Let me tell y'all something, bro. I'm thinking that the people that come from Haiti didn't come from Africa, bro. I'm telling you. And then, like I said, all right. I got two theories on that alone, or whatever. But my theory is I'm starting to think after the Louisiana Purchase, the fucking French went to Haiti because they don't show you that they was in Haiti prior to. Yo, it's a lot of research that gotta be done, but most of this stuff we can sit here and break this shit down right here. Because it's telling you everything it needs to tell you. Now, all right, let me go to the next thing. But there's a lot more on this. Let me just give you guys let's say Indian slavery in the Southeast. As you see, they do got sources right here. The colonial slave, just to let you guys know, man, I ain't just no naive guy, man. I don't just be picking any articles, man. I'm not just naive. It's just after doing the research, it's hard to really pinpoint this information. It's very hard. It's very hard. You have to, even if you go back in the records is still unclear. You go back in the records is still unclear. Now check this out. All right, now look. It tells you trade. All right, you got slavery in Florida, slavery in Georgia, slavery in Carolina, slavery in the Southeast colonies. So what happened to the slaves that was in Florida? They telling you in the mid 1700s, right? Let's check this out. Boom. You know I gotta keep this. This is my baby right here. All right, I love this. I actually love this document right here. Now let's just go to Florida real quick. This is just touching way off of what I was really trying to really get at. But I just want to show you guys something. Just how simple we can just sit here and use our brain and just like, yo, these people are lying. All right, so we in Alabama right there. So let me see. What's this? Arkansas. Let me see. And whatever state that state was long as hell. Alright, so where we at? Colorado, alright, hold up. See, Delaware, alright, should be coming up. Alright, here we go, Florida. Now here we go in Florida, right? Now you notice in Florida, since they was already in Florida, the earliest census go to 1850. That's the earliest that I see on here. This is the census from 1790. So it shows you all the states where it got the census of 1790. Now remember, the reason why I think that this census was done late because they were still warring with the Yamasees and the Seminole. They was warring with them all that time. All that time they was warring with them, and they could not really come. They could not really come and start colonizing Florida like that. All right, so now look, check it out. Now remember, you guys already know this. I'm just gonna go just to show y'all. These are race, it's white, total population, white, black, American Indian, Asian, Pacific Island, and other race Hispanics. All right, now. Just so funny that they got you broken down in different brackets. Alright, and then you know what? I'm sorry because this is not the one I actually intended to get because this don't show you this breaks it down by the states. See, you see the different states, Jacksonville, Hollywood. So this breaks Florida down by the states. So it's not showing you how many was exactly in Florida. I mean, there's a document on here, but I really don't feel like looking for it. But as you see, in some states, it was total 500. It was 73 free. 440 was enslaved in Florida. But let me go ahead because I'm getting way off the topic where I was at. But I just wanted to show you guys that they had so-called Native American slaves in Florida, Georgia, and in the Carolinas. And remember what they said. They said this. I didn't say this. Okay, I didn't say this. So for any of you guys who reading this, who's like, oh man, this guy's making it up. I'm not saying, I didn't say none of this. Say it is commonly believed that Africans were the only people who were enslaved in the Americas. However, in some of the Southeast colonies, Native American slaves at times outnumbered those of African descent. There you have it. Now check this out. Now these, in them states where they outnumbered them at, right? Why are they not being classified as Indians? Because if you go down, now look, check this out. Let me see. That's some other research I was looking at. All right, bam. Bam. All right, let's deal with this right here. This is just brief right here, right? This is in 1860. And I was looking at this because I didn't want to be crossed up on my research on this, all right? So I'm not going to really be touching on this too much, all right? Because it's only giving you the 13 states or the first 13 colonies, all right? It's not giving you the other states, because when you go on this document right here, you see that it go to other states outside of them 13. You know what I'm saying? It go to states that's not up there. So let me just show y'all something. This is what I was looking for. All right, here we go. Let me open up a little bit. All right, so I think it's this one right here. No, it's this one. All right. All right, but here you go. So this for the whole entire United States from 1790 to 1999. All right. So this is their census. This is not the Indigenous one. I did not copy and paste none of this stuff. This is an actual document. You guys can look it up. The census of 1790 or whatever. All right. So look, we're gonna go right here. We're gonna go to 1790. Right. Now look, 1790. All right. So remember, let me show you guys again, just so you'll know. Total population: white, black, Indians, Asians, and Hispanics. All right, it wasn't none of these people was here until later on. All right, it was just us and the Europeans. All right, now check this out. Let's deal with this. 1790, bam. All right, so this is total population. This is black, total black, free. And this is slaves, all right? So it's saying the total population of so-called black people, or whatever you want to call it, in 1790 was 757,208. All right, now it's telling you it was 59,527 free blacks and 697,681 slaves. All right, now check this out. Now you see right here, this is for the whole United States, right? If there was Indian slaves, right? If the Indians and the blacks are not the fucking same, right? Now remember, look, this is for you scholars, all right? This is another checkmate in your face. American Indians, Eskimo, American Indians by race, all right? So look. Let's go down. It just said, the article I just read just told you, along with the other articles and the plenty of other scholars who already told you, that there was Indian slavery in the Southeast, where they told you that they brought so-called Africans at. Now check this out. Where are they at? Where are they? You understand? Where are they at? Just tell me where they at. Because I don't see no Indians present. Because they right here, man, they ain't even bring no African. Now, let me show y'all something else. Now, this is in 1790, okay? It's saying we went over the numbers, all right. So, as you go up, in 1800s, there's a million, and they go all the way up to 1790. By 1890, there's almost 7,470,040 whatever. So this is how many so-called blacks, right? And then they show you Indians right here, right now. Where did these Indians come from? Where did these Indians come from, right? Now check this out. Now look, if the Indians was here the whole time, where did they come from? Where did they just pop up now? Now you start seeing them after the 1860s. Where did they pop up at? Now this is a whole nother theory on this right here, where these people came from. You understand? But it tells you out of the black people. And even if we go back down here, let's go back down to 1850 right here. 1850, there was 3,638,808 black people, right? In 1850, there was still no Indians. So how the fuck, excuse my language, how the hell in 10 years 44,000 Indians just pop up on the census? Now, they ain't had no cars. They had trains and everything. But you tell me how 44,000 Indians just popped up. Now, mind you, most of these people in these areas did not travel, did not move around unless they was slaves. And I could show you something else that people don't think about, right? How do you get slaves in, like I said, Louisiana and like up in Detroit and Michigan? How do you get slaves all the way up there? Now, you can't now remember, the European was coming along the coast. This is the way they tell you. They was coming on the coast, bringing the people inland to the coast. All right, now you could think of it like this too, right? How was you walking slaves all the way? How did you bring boats up? You had to come all the way up the Caribbean, all the way up to Louisiana, all the way up to like the Louisiana, like the Mississippi. Now, think of it like this. For them to go that way, meaning that they had to go that way already. They ain't just going to take that route right there. They already then took people from Louisiana to the Caribbean. But they just told you that they took Native Americans to West Indians. Now, that's like my 5th video on this, right? But I'm gonna go over something else that I found, right? Now, you see the numbers right here, right? Now, boom. Now, these is estimates, right? And I'm going to go back out. This is slavevoyage.org, all right? Now, this is what I heard somebody reference, man. Somebody gave reference this, right? But check this out. Excuse me. Check this out. Now, these are the total different slaves that was taken from 1501 to the 1600s, right? This is one column, and all the way up from 1801 to 1900s. Now, you got Spain, Uruguay, Portugal, Brazil, Great Britain, the Netherlands, the United States, France, Denmark, whatever, and whatever. All right, so all of these states right here involved, right? Now, check this out. What they want you to believe is this. All of these states, these were all Africans, right? But think about it like this from a common sense perspective, right? The Spanish came to the Americas first, right? The Spanish came here first, right? Supposedly, the Spanish came here first, according to the history we got. Columbus, whatever. He came here first. What did Columbus say he did when he went back to Europe? He took 1,500 so-called Arawaks to him to Europe. Now, we got the picture that St. Mary the Good when they had afros, all right? So now, check this out. Bust this. Now, they told you he took people from here to Spain. Now, in Columbus logs, you don't see nothing about him bringing no Africans here. This is how you really trap anybody off who doing this research. Because Columbus never say he brought any Africans here, but he said he sure took people from here to Europe. Now, what happens later? The Portuguese follows the Spaniards and try to do the same thing that Columbus said that he did. They come here, went to Brazil, and they found Negroes. The same thing, well, whatever you want to call them, whatever tribe that they were, or Arawaks, or whatever they was in that region, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then you got Great Britain, okay? Now, you see Great Britain, because remember, Britain didn't come to like the 1600s, man, like the early 1600s, all right? So, for them to bring over African, because look, when you read Powhatan and you read where, all right, matter of fact, you know what? I'm off on that. My bad. I'm off on that because I'm jumping the gun. Let me stop. All right, I'm jumping the gun. But Great Britain, why would Great Britain? What makes you think that these are Africans that they brought here? And look at these numbers, man. These numbers. Matter of fact, these numbers might be correct because remember they was taking people from out of here, man. You understand? Now when we get to the U.S., right? Now check this shit out. All right, now this is the total amount of slaves that they said they brought here from the 1600s to, I guess, whatever, to after the 1900s, well, the 1900s. All right, now check this out. Look, people. Look, let's deal with this. And this is, you ain't gotta be the smartest person in the world to really figure this out. 1670. I mean, from 1601 to 1700s. Now look how many people there was in here. Now I can't show you that on the census, right? I can't show you the census until right here, until 1790. All right, so in the 1800s, they telling you that it was 189,304 so-called slaves here. All right, now remember, what slaves were they for this low number right here? Now check this out. This is in the 1800s. Now I say by 1800s it was almost 200,000 slaves here, right? Now check this out. Boom. Go back to the top just for you illiterate people or people who don't really comprehend that easy. Now look, United States, total population, white, black, Indians. All right, now we just went over the fact that they already told you that they supposed to have Indian slaves here in all of the South. Well, I'm not saying all of the Southeast states, but I'm thinking that if you had them in some, you had them in all. They cannot cover this shit up, man. They cannot cover it up. They cannot cover it up. Now check this out. Now, it said by the 1800s. Boom, we right here. 1790, 1800s. Now, look, it's telling you right here in the 1800s, there's a million so-called black people here. In 1700s, in 1790s, there's 700, whatever. All right, so this telling you in 1800s, there's a million, right? But when you go here, no, it was this one. No, it's this one. No, I'm bugging. It's this one. When you go here, it tells you that they only bought 5,326 people here in a span from the 1600s to the 1900s. Now this is what they telling you. Now I'm thinking that these was people who was already out to the Caribbean that they was bringing back and forth, man. This is what I'm thinking, along with the maybe, I don't know, I'm not even going to think, I don't even think that they bought, honestly, to be honestly true, with the way we doing this research, because they did not conquer Africa until like after they came here. So for them to tell you that they went there and they were snatching up all these people, if anything, that they was raiding, they was doing the same thing that they started doing here. Because understand this, right? They was doing the same thing that they was doing here. They was riding around the coast of Africa, capturing 1, 2, 3 slaves. They did not have no trade with no people to where they were sending millions of people over here. Yo, they lied to us, bro. And this right here tells you. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. All right, so say from 1670 to 1890. Now this is supposed to be slave voyages, man. .org, man. So this is supposed to be a slave. This is supposed to be something that you can go to and find real information on. Okay, now check this out. From 1600s to the I'm sorry, I'm right here. My bad. From 1600s to the 1900s, they telling you they bought 5,326 people here. All right, but now the census is showing by the by the 1900s. Let me see something. By the 1900s, there's almost 8 million people here that's black. Well, check this out. Look, black people. 18. Let's go right here. Let's go. They said 1900s. 1900s, there's almost 9 million black people here. Okay, there's almost 9 million black people here. How did that number jump up? Look. Or we could just say that this is another pseudo website, because I haven't been able to find no actual documents on this. But if this is the number right here, we know why this number is so high. Because these was indigenous people. There was more indigenous people enslaved here than anybody. And if they, listen, man, the record shows you. I'm showing you right here, man. Like I said, man, I don't speak the King English the best. But guess what? I got common sense, man. And from just being on the streets, being street smart, when you start reading a lot of this stuff, man, you start like, man, hold up, man. Listen, I'm not a detective, but I'm damn sure not. I'm not a detective, or I'm not somebody who like, you know, been trained to do this. This is just common freaking sense, man. It's just common sense, man. See, people you didn't think that I was gonna pull the census up and then start looking at these logs and looking at this shit separately like this, did you? You didn't think I was gonna do that. Now, like I said, all of these people in Spain right here, I'm thinking these are Aborigine people that was brought from the Americas from the whole time that they was coming here, along with Portuguese. Same thing with Great Britain, the Netherlands, the same thing with the Americas and France, okay? And France. Do not believe that these people that came, maybe some of them did, because the French was in Africa. Remember, the French was in Africa. The French did, they was in Egypt. They did capture some of the last of the black Egyptians that was there and enslaved them. But I'm thinking that the majority of the slaves came from the Americas. The majority of these people came from the Americas. Now it's telling you in total, there's 12. It's telling you in total. This between all of these. This is Spain, Portugal, Great Britain, Netherlands, USA, France, Denmark. Okay, so it's telling you a total of 12 million people. Okay, now this is 12 million people. Now, this is in, like I said, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 different so-called countries on one continent, and these are all different countries in Europe or whatever. But it's telling you 12 million altogether. All right, now, look at these numbers. This is 1900s, man. It's almost 9,000. It's almost 9 million people here. You understand what I'm saying? There's almost 9 million people there. Because you know what I'm starting to think too? That the rest of the tribes that wasn't conquered, they was Christianized and they just gathered along with us. Alright? Because, man, look, man, this is like, oh, man, let me show y'all something else, man. Alright, so, what was the other? Alright, this article right here. Let's say for instance, right? If I go back here, I can actually go to each state and really get an estimate of how many people was here additionally with these states right here. All right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is 13 of the so-called 50 states. So, all right. So in the 13 states, now remember, they tell you in the southeast. The southeast would be Georgia, would be probably Delaware, Georgia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. All of that is southeast. So they telling you in the southeast. Once again, we go back to this again. They're telling you the enslavement of Native Americans was common across the 13 British colonies and Florida in the 1600s and the early 1700s, but especially in the American Southeast. It is commonly believed that Africans were the only people who were enslaved in America. However, in some Southeast colonies, Native American slaves outnumbered the African descendants. Now, which Southeast states was that? Let's sit here and figure them out, okay? Because they lying about this shit, man. And like I said, they lying about it. Now. This is, remember, I'm gonna count Delaware. Delaware will be Southeast. So we got 1, 2, 3. We got 4. No, I'm not gonna count Pennsylvania. We got 5, we got 6. So out of the original 13 colonies, 6 of them will be considered Southeast states. All right. So out of those Southeast states, which of them more had the so-called slaves in it? Now look, it's showing you right here. Now look, this is from 1750, right? So let's assume that the so-called Indians. Let's assume that they did free the Indians, all right. Where are they at? Where are they at on the census? Let's say this, right? Let's say that they freed the Indians in them so-called states, right? In 1730. I'm just putting a number out there. In 1730. Where are they at? Where are they at right here? They're not showing in the census. Now, like I said, if they was enslaving these people for a whole 100 years, and I'm assuming they don't want to put the 1800s because then people then they gonna start getting close to like, hold up, man. If you was enslaving these people all this time, where are they at, man? And that's what I'm trying to say, man. This is the like getting close to the end of this research, man, because I'm already clear on my end. I'm already clear on my end because you got these bullshit ass databases that gives you numbers like this: 305,000. I mean, 305,000 supposedly slaves that was brought to the United States in so-called 200 years. Where the 100 million people that they was telling you? And on top of that, these people right here is from the damn Americas. Okay, now just for you guys that want to challenge me or you want to come on here and you don't, you want to come on with the bullshit. Let me find something real quick. All right, hold up. All right, this is the slave owner solution to the problem of the escaped native slaves were to send them to work in the West Indies where they would not be able to escape, man. They was already sending them to the West Indies from the door. But when you see all these posters, oh, escaped slave, oh, you assume that they was Africans, don't you? You assume that they was Africans, don't you? Okay? You assume that they was African. And then that's what I'm saying. They contradict themselves with this information. But one thing none of you scholars can do. We can sit here and debate the numbers. We can sit here and debate a lot of this stuff. But one thing you cannot debate, and this is, like I said, this is basic information right here. It says the enslavement of Native Americans across the 13 British colonies and Florida in the 16 and early 1700s, but especially in the Southeast. It is commonly believed that Africans were the only people who were enslaved in America. Now, if you had all these Indians that were enslaved here, why would you spend more money to bring Africans here? Why wouldn't you just take them Africans to Europe or France? Or why would you bring them here? Because you know how much money that cost them to bring them here. They lying. Now look, check it out. Now I say, believe that Africans was the only people who were enslaved in America. However, in some Southeast colonies, Native American slaves outnumbered those African descendants. So if these states where they outnumber that, where are these people at on the damn census? Okay, because I can sit here and really let me see something. All right, right here. I can sit here and really be tedious and say, all right, well, we're going to go through Georgia. We're going to go through Maryland. We already know what slaves in Massachusetts. We can go through Carolina. We can go through South Carolina. We can go through Virginia. We can go through all them states from that time because it's telling you in the 1700s, we can go to all these different states in here, and we won't find none of these people. We won't find no Indians on the damn census. Okay, so was they separating the so-called Africans from the Indians? But most people will say, oh, they brought so many Africans here. So if they brought so many Africans here, right? This is one more last time I'm gonna go on this, man. This is their estimates, and you go ahead and show you all these fake ass scholars. Oh, these people is from Cambridge and all this other shit. These motherfuckers is full of shit. 305,000, okay, and from the 1600s, to the 1900s. All right, telling you this is how many people supposed to be here. Okay, well, I'm just saying. Well, with that, you can account the people having babies and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? But this is how many people they tell you that they brought here. All right, so I mean, when I said that I was wrong about that, like how in this it was that many people here or whatever though, but I don't even believe them numbers, man. I don't believe them numbers. The numbers do not match up, do not add up. We can do something basic. Where it says this one, man. We could do something basic like this. Alright, so let's go right here. So let's say, now it's saying a whole 100 years they brought 4,000 people here. Alright, so the next 100 years they brought almost 200,000 people here. Okay, but like I said, in a lot of these states where they claiming that these people are Africans, these people are so-called Aborigines. And these articles prove it. Okay, so look, So if they bought 4,000 people in a hundred year span, and then the next 100 years they bought almost 200,000 people, and then the last year they bought 100,000 people. These numbers don't add up, man. These numbers don't add up. And even if you were to say, all right, well, out of these people right here, out of these 4,000 people, let's say that they procreated and made another 8,000. But then we have to assume how many of these was women and how many of them was men, and who was they procreating with. You understand? So that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But like I said, look at these numbers. It's telling you 300 in a 200-year span. It's telling you 300,000. And if you go here, you see how the numbers jump up. You telling you from 1790, there's almost 7. So you telling me in a 100-year span, in a 200-year span, the numbers jumped up to 700,000 people, or so-called blacks, or the total, because remember, you got free and you got slaves. So this is the United States, 1790. So in 1790 there was 700,000, 1800s, a million, 1810, a million. You go all the way up to 1860 right here. All right, but then like I said, in 1860 and 1850, you don't see no damn Indians. You don't see no Indians on the chart, but it tells you that these was Indian slaves. But then when you go to a lot of these slave states, the only thing you see is blacks. You see black, free, and slaves. Okay, because like I said, the majority of the slaves, I'm gonna say 95% of them was so-called Aborigines. They bought maybe 5% of the so-called Africans over here, or whatever you want to believe. But you do your own research on this. All right, maybe my numbers might be off a little bit or whatever. Maybe I might miscalculated something. But one thing I can tell you, ain't nowhere in the world they telling you that they bought, that they had, it was at times the Native American slaves outnumbered the so-called African descendants. So where are these Native American slaves that was in these southeast states? Where they at? I said, man, this is just basic research. This is not even digging real deep or whatever. This is just like really just, I just wanted to just put this out there so you guys can do your research. But for you guys who do your research, make sure you download this document right here, the Census .gov or whatever, because this is very crucial right here, man. They telling you it's Indian slaves. They telling you that they separated the slaves, because it's telling you right here, right? It's saying that on this one, it's saying that the African slaves who worked in the plantation. So if the African slaves worked the plantation and the Indians were separate from the Africans, that means that's telling you that they telling you that they was separating them. They was telling you that they had African slaves and Indian slaves. But if they had African slaves and Indian slaves, then why you don't see no Indian slave? Why don't they have a separate Indian column like they do for blacks? Unless blacks was the Indians. Okay, unless blacks wasn't Indians, why don't they have a separate column for the Indians and have Indian slaves, total, free, and slaves like they got for black people? If they telling you right here that they separated or they knew the difference from the Africans and the Indians or whatever, then why the hell don't they have a separate column for the Indians? And why don't you see the Indians on none of these censuses? Even if they was free, where they at? Now I can tell if I would see one or two. You don't see none. You don't see none. It's like not available, not available. But these people was in bondage, so where they at? Like I said, man. I'm about to start doing these live streams, man. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, man. We're gonna be exposing a lot of these people who claim they got so much research, man, because they can't explain it. And like I said, half of these scholars that you speak to, when you mention the word slave, they do not say, well, hold up. Do you mean Indian slaves or African slaves? What slaves are you talking about? Or are you talking about Europeans? Or if you want to be politically correct, the so-called Aborigines was not slaves, they was prisoners of war. And the ones that converted was indentured servants. So the ones that agreed to be, and then another thing, just remember this too, right? for a lot of people who always say, all right, well, that was a black man that was with George Washington and all these people who fought in the Revolutionary Wars and all that. There was Indians that basically was Christianized and colonized, man. There was straight Indians that was Christianized and colonized, man. You know what I'm saying? And let me see something real quick. Let me just see, before I get off of this, I want to see something. Because I was looking at something. I want to just see if I can find it real quick. Because it kind of applies to what we talking about right here. Alright, hold up. I want to see colonial states. Colonial time. Alright, this is just something right here. So it's saying Indian slavery and colonial time. You know, it's another PDF. I don't feel like going all the way to the top to show you guys. Let me see. I think I will show you. That was page 22. So this is the PDF. It's an Indian slavery and colonial time within present limits of the United States. All right. So that's the person who writing it, PhD or whatever, Columbia University. All right. So let's go back down. Go all the way back down to 22. Alright, so what's this? Alright, that's 17. 20. No, well, hold up. Let me see something. Well, this has something too, but that's not what I was looking for. Let me see this way. Now this should tell you, man. You know what? No, I'm not gonna read this, but this has a lot of stuff. I'm probably gonna touch on this in the next video. But yeah, this has a lot of stuff in it, man. And like I said, the key to it is study the Indian slavery, man. Forget everything that you've been told to study. Study the Indian slavery, man, and use the census and look at the numbers. The numbers is incorrect. The numbers are incorrect, man. They are incorrect. The people that they are counting, like on this so-called, on this one, oh, was it this one? Yeah, no, is it this one? Yeah, all right, it's this one. On this one, like I'm telling you, these people are Aborigines from America, man. When they tell you it was more Aborigines taken out than taken in, who would be the ones that took them out? The Spain, the Portuguese, and the English. And the English. Who would be the ones that took them out? If Christopher Columbus said he took 1,500 out, the Portuguese said they took people from the island of Bridgeport and Brazil and all them other places. What makes you think that they didn't take nobody from there to their country? So when you look at these numbers, these are not fucking Africans. These are indigenous people that came from the Americas, man. They did not bring no damn Africans. The people that they brought over with servants that was working with them, they probably brought their own men over. How they gonna bring over people when they first come here when they don't even know what to expect? How they gonna even know they're gonna take over the land in that region? Yeah, Columbus went to an island, but how the Portuguese knew they was gonna be successful and they just brought over all these men automatically? No, they came here, enslaved the people, took people back, then said, yo, we're gonna bring more men back and we're gonna capture the whole continent, and we're gonna put the prisoners of war there. They're gonna be put to work for us, and the ones that wanna submit is gonna be indentured service. And that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it, man. Remember, they came here first, man. They came. Don't let none of them mongoloids sit here and fucking lie to you about, yeah, well, they came here first. They didn't. They listen. Let me close this shit. You see all this right here? North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Colorado, and all that shit. They didn't come to none of this shit until later on, man. They didn't come to none of this shit till later on, because you see, there's no green here. You see all of this shit is damn near flat land. You see all the brown? You see all the green right here? All of this is green vegetation. You see all this shit? All of this is green. All this is green. You see all of this? None of this shit is green right here, bro. All of this shit is desert land. And you see that there's very little rivers and lakes that run through this area right here. So why would any damn Indian choose to live in a damn desert? The only place you can really live is here, around the Great Lakes, around here, and around here. That's the, listen, think about it like this, right? Think about it like this, right? Louisiana is right here, right? So why do you think it was just so easy? Let me see. This Louisiana. Why do you think it was just so easy for the French to just come right here and float right on out here and take people from here to there? Because they somehow got in cahoots with the people in DR and somehow got a third of the fucking corner of the island or whatever. And like I said, after Louisiana purchased, you think they went here and went all the way? Because think about it like this, right? How did they get into Louisiana anyway? You think these people actually came, and this is going off topic, but this is just something a little extra for you guys. I'm just saying, this is just my theory. This France right here, right? So you think that people from France actually came, rode all the way around, or even if they came this way, let's say that they came this way, they came down this way, and then they started enslaving people or whatever. Because remember, they was in Egypt, all right? But remember, you think that they came here, boom, they come here. Now, unless that they had other people in these countries that was looking out for them, for them to come all the way from here to here is a long ass journey. Then from them to come, then they're gonna go in Africa, they're gonna take slaves, and they're gonna come all the way here and go all the way across. This is a long ass fucking travel right here to come from anywhere up here, anywhere up here, anywhere right here. Guinea, Mauritania, West Sahara, Morocco, anywhere up here right here. If they come all the way over here, is a long ride. Not to mention, remember, they just came from France. So they came here and enslaved people here and said, all right, well, boom, we're gonna go to Louisiana. They came all the way across here and then went into Louisiana, then set up shop there. No, they came here, enslaved the people here, and then when the Louisiana purchase took place, they took people with them. They took them to the island of. They took them to Haiti, and that's when you have your fucking what's the name? Your revolution. They did not come from Africa. It just doesn't make no sense, man. It just, after doing this research, a lot of this stuff just doesn't make any freaking sense, man. You have to be a damn idiot. Nova Scotia right here. Look, you have to be a damn idiot to believe this shit. You know what I'm saying? You really have to be, man. I mean, I'm just telling you, man. And people with these college degrees that keep on coming up here talking about, you keep on bragging about your college degrees. In some instances, if you're not really helping humanity or really doing nothing good, you need to take that degree and make a paper airplane out of it and fly that shit across the room. You know what I'm saying? The same thing like my degrees. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much the same thing. Because if you didn't learn none of this stuff in here, your education is only as good as how smart you are. Because if you believe everything that your so-called teacher teaches you and you don't teach yourself nothing, then you are the biggest idiot. And like a wise man once told me, he said you get two educations in this world. One education which is taught to you, the education which you seek out on your own. Okay, and in most instances, the education that you seek out on your own, you become more wiser and you become more intelligent off of that. All right. So with that being said, man, I'm the Taunch in this one, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. But like I said, man, it's no way that if you use your common sense, you think these people came all the way from France and came, oh, we're going to go all the way around here, unless they came from Canada, because they also tell you that the French was in Canada. Now, that would make more sense because, I know I just went back off topic again, but fuck it, let me go ahead and just keep it freestyle. So it said that the France, boom, and even that's a long-ass trip, man. That's a long-ass trip across the Atlantic Ocean, man. It really is, man. It really is. This shit right here look like an impossible mission, man. Unless you got ports out here and other ships that's carrying food or whatever, that's the only way you probably can pull that off, man. That's the only way you can pull that off, man. But you gonna bring people here, and you don't know if people gonna make it, they gonna survive. But you can damn sure take people from here out here along the coast, and everywhere you go along the coast, you have a port set up to where you can you can get more food or get more water or whatever, and then keep on going until you reach a destination. So, like I said, man. With that being said, man. It's a time to this one. You guys, like I said, for you guys who doing your research, man, please download this document right here, man, because this is going to prove, man. When you pull up Indian slavery, you're gonna ask the scholars, where are these Indians that slave? When you get them to agree that there was Indian slaves, you ask them where are they at on the census, because they clearly tell you that they was basically separating the Africans from the Indians. So where they at on the census? Like I said, man, look, man, I'm gonna end this video here, man. I'm out. Peace.